You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
In this episode, we're headed back to Beverly Hills. Back to the prehistoric era. I don't know. When do dragons exist? It's Apathetic Enthusiasm. When do dragons exist?
When do dragons prehistoric?
Yeah.
The medieval age.
Yeah. And on Max. Hi everybody, I'm Travis.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon, and welcome to the show critics are calling the best thing that Brandon and Travis have ever done in the last week.
What critics are calling hard to listen to, harder to watch. It's Apathetic Enthusiasm. Thank you everybody for being here. So excited that you're tuning in for yet another podcast episode. We're happy you're here. If for some reason you're new here, if you have accidentally downloaded this by mistake, make sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter or X, depending on what you like to call it. We are at Apathusiast. I am at Jogomino. He is at Barnyard Cruise. He stirs drinks with his finger. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show. You can send us emails, apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at apathetic_enthusiasm. Make sure you are following our Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm, or what is it, Rick and Morty Pod?
Yeah.
That's the other one.
Sounds good.
Follow
Yeah,
that one. Follow that one too. Make sure you're following those for lots of behind the scenes and bonus content coming up in a couple weeks from San Diego Comic-Con. You can find our website with all of our podcasts and everything we do over at apatheticenthusiasm.com. If you want video versions of this podcast, it's up on YouTube, youtube.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the things that you do over there. And finally, a big thank you to all the patrons at patreon.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm. If you want to be a patron, you can get access to bonus content, including Patreon-only post shows and anything else that we have overpromised and underdelivered.
Yeah, but I want to say, to our patrons currently, Travis did hit me up this weekend. He said, "Hey, we overpromise. You want to change some of these things up?" And I said, "Go for it. I'm not stopping you.
I haven't changed anything yet.
But just know, fine listener, fine patron, that it's Travis's fault that you lose any of your bennies."
Yeah, we're rethinking some things here. We'll be in the same state in approximately 2 weeks, so we can have all of the informal meetings and things that we never have.
Maybe we have like informal meetings live.
That's the content that the fans are clamoring for. They're like, let's get the juicy deets on a behind the scenes podcast conversation.
Let's give them a taste. Let's give them a taste of what those juicy deets look
Normally
like.
we reserve this for behind the paywall, but luckily you downloaded this episode, fair listener.
That's right. We want to give you a taste of what you can expect from our Patreon. Okay, so
all right, go ahead. You start.
Okay, in 10, 9, 8. I don't know why I started off at 10.
10 was really high.
All right, in 60 seconds we'll go ahead and start with countdown. All right, so in 3, 2, 1, we'll start, Travis. We'll just have a.
Brandon, I'm so glad we're finally here. I've really been meaning to talk to you a lot about how we're monetizing the podcast.
Hey, does Carol have any bread?
Yeah, no, she's got tons of bread. It's right next to the fridge, that cabinet right above.
This one?
Check the expiration dates. I'm just gonna warn you.
This cabinet? There's only cups up here.
No, behind you. The other one behind you.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Behind the breakfast cereals.
There's spaghetti sauce. Am I looking in the right? Can you just find me the bread?
Hold on, let me get it. So anyway, the reason I figure our podcast started in a kitchen. So while you're looking for this,
I don't
this
really like wheat bread. Does she have any non-wheat?
Do you like the stuff with the seeds in it, or just
I'm
like?
Okay with it. I'm okay with.
Okay, all right. You're a crunchy California guy. Here's the bread. Anyway, I figure
gluten-free bread though. Yeah.
It's not gluten free. Do you have a gluten allergy?
No, I don't know if I do, but I feel like I've been feeling kind of funky lately whenever I eat like bread or like pasta. So like I'm
I think we have some tortillas from Trader Joe's up here. Do you want a
Okay.
tortilla instead?
Yeah, I haven't felt that way with tortillas, so yeah, I'll give those a shot too.
Okay, yeah. These are the tortillas that aren't pre-cooked though, so you're gonna have to get a pan out and start cooking the tortillas so that they actually. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like flour basically.
Well, there's a burner here, right? We can just use the stove.
Yeah, it is like an convection oven type thing or whatever. So you can just slap the tortilla right on top.
No,
of it.
I mean that's the best way to do it. I don't like the electric burners. Like those aren't good for tortillas.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a glass top electric burner.
Sorry, I didn't look at it. I didn't look at it close enough. Even though
I know you were too focused on my eyes.
And break, and
that's how we update the incentives on our Patreon. So look forward to more behind the scenes, just like that, coming up very soon.
Travis, did you did the housekeeping stuff of where people can find us everywhere?
Yeah, I think we got through all of it.
Okay. All right. As Travis mixes his drink with his finger. Travis, I want to do something a little bit different to start the episode. I didn't prep you for this, but that's okay. That's okay because you shine with
That's mostly my ring light.
You glow when there's anything that's random and off the cuff. That's why we do such a great job on Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Expert improvers. That's what we are.
But what I want to do is I had a conversation at lunch today. I went to Yard House, had some Korean chili boneless wings, which was pretty good. Although
so you had adult chicken nuggets.
Yeah. So I kind of have like a reflux thing going on right now. I'm not a fan of it. So that's why I'm drinking. That's why I'm drinking. And but anyway, I was with a couple friends, and I was joking with one of the friends who I just rehired, old Mike.
Does old Mike know he's a friend, or do you just refer to all of your employees as friends?
Even if I don't like him, like Mike, I just call them all friends because I don't want them feeling bad about it.
All right.
So I was joking with Mike. I was like, "Yeah, I had to hire you back because you're the only one who listens to my podcast." And then Jeff was like, "What? What? I listen to it. I listen to it all the time." I'm like, No, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's why I brought up the Lorcana stuff." I was like, "Oh, I thought you just liked Disney things." And he's like, "No, that's not." And then I was like, "Okay, what was the last episode you listened to?"
Jeff brought up Lorcana stuff?
He did.
I think we just became best friends, Jeff. What are you doing the 24th to the 28th? You want to take Brandon's spot at Comic-Con?
Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because we also talked about how my boss also listens to us every once in a while. And so I'm just confirming that we have 3 total listeners.
And
on the show.
you're responsible for 2/3 of their salaries.
Yeah. But that's not all.
In fairness, at least one of the people that works for me or used to work for me is also a listener of the podcast. We're really growing our audience just by telling people at work what our hobbies are.
So shout out to Sam, to Jeff, to Mike, and to Son. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for being our core listeners.
I think Pinky might listen too.
Okay.
Pinky's the small mouse that works in lab experiments.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what I want to add to that, Travis, is that yes, they listen, but they also gave me some constructive feedback. Now, you see, in Apathetic in Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast, we have what we call breaks in between segments, where I make some stupid song, then we go to commercial, and then we put our dynamic advertising in there.
Yes, we do.
Apathetic Enthusiasm does no such thing. So we'll be in the middle of a conversation, and so their feedback is, it's just weird how you have random ass ads in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, it's because we don't do a break. So Travis, after our shout out, I just want to say, you tell me when we're going to go to a break, and then that's when I'll put in the mid-break ad.
Oh, so this is happening. We're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna
we got to do
do
it.
actual segments in Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Well, at least do break time segments.
Was it Mike and Jeff that told you that?
Yeah, Mike and Jeff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Mike and Jeff will get you that money in a couple of weeks. Appreciate you finally getting Brandon on my side.
We could
with all
have
this.
done this. We could have done this months ago, Travis. You know, you never
You never
don't
listen to
say
my
anything.
ideas, Brandon.
You have ideas, and then you're like, Brandon didn't do it, so I'm not gonna do it.
This from the guy that's written the same caption for our new episode on Instagram for the
Whoa.
last 6 weeks.
Whoa! I haven't written the same caption. I've changed it up a little bit.
Yeah, and if you don't know what we're talking about, make sure you go to apathetic_enthusiasm over on Instagram so you can check out them captions.
Yeah, the captions only go up to a certain character amount, so I'm gonna have to start abbreviating it. I talked about this last week. So.
Think really hard about it. Brandon, in uncommon news, in something that is not our traditional way of producing this episode, we had a conversation earlier today about the topics that we'd actually discuss on this episode, and not only did we have that conversation, you had input about the things to discuss. So I want to. Brandon contributes plenty, everybody. Anyway,
Look, I'm not just a pretty face.
not just a pretty face, not just the guy that wears different hats, except for in this episode.
Yeah, I ran out of hats.
I should have grabbed a hat.
That's what
Should've
Comic Con's for.
Yeah, exactly. Just gonna buy all the hats.
Yeah.
But you watched. So it was 4th of July this last week in the United States, where we celebrate our nation's independence. Which also means a few extra days off, and we were able to use that time to watch some movies, watch some content. I basically just rewatched a bunch of old movies that I'd already seen, because I am slowly throughout the year working my way through all of the Disney animated features in chronological order, which is such a nerdy and stupid thing to be doing, but I am. But you watched potentially some actually good movies over this weekend. You told me about a couple of them. Is there one in particular you'd like to start with?
Well, yeah. Let me go ahead and start with the one I watched first. The one I was looking forward to the most, to be honest with you. And let's start it by saying this. I saw I think the first one of the series I saw. There's 2 movies I watched, both part of the series. This one I'm talking about now, I saw the third one first before any of the other ones, which is Beverly Hills Cop 3. I watched the third one before the others, but then I went back and I watched 1 and 2, and now basically what I do is that's part of my movie series that I will just binge watch.
Really? You just read it's like a one of those comfort movies where you're just like, I don't know what to watch. Oh, let's just put on Beverly Hills Cop again.
Yeah, because I know I'm gonna wake up in the middle, I'm fall asleep at the end of 1, and somehow I'll end up at the scene at the end of 3 where they're at Kingdom of the Dinosaurs at Knott's Berry Farm. That's where it's
spoilers.
Everybody. And I'd be like, this is good. I enjoyed this. So when I heard that Axel F was coming to Netflix, because it was only announced maybe 2 months ago, I was like, ooh, a new Beverly Hills Cop. And I saw the trailer, and I was like, it might actually be good. It might actually look good. So it's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it. He's one of the new folks. Eddie Murphy is, of course, in it. There's a woman there who plays his daughter, his daughter who's now an adult. And then, of course, Judge Reinhold, the guy who played Taggart from the first and second one, is there. Paul Reiser is in it. Lots of folks. Much throwback. Travis, you watched the first 10 seconds of it, so you know how much.
The heat is on.
Glenn Frey, yeah.
That's all I got. I got a montage of him driving and that song, and so far I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I didn't want to start recording. I just wanted to get back to that movie.
So what I'll say about Axel F is, one, if you like Beverly Hills Cop, I think you'll like this movie. If you liked any of the series, even 3, I think you'll like this movie. It is, as far as ranking goes, if I had to rank them, I would put it 3rd out of the 4.
Okay.
But that's not saying it's bad, right? That's not saying it's bad.
Just that the others are so good.
It's just the others were first. They came first, except 3, which came after the second, but then before the fourth. Whichever, those other ones came first, but were good.
So just for clarity, not that wasn't super clear, but but ranking your top 4 Beverly Hills Cop movies in order. Number 1 is
Beverly Hills Cop 1.
Number 2 is
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Number 3 is
Beverly Hills Cop 4, which Axel F.
Axel F. Streaming exclusively on Netflix.
Did you know the F stands for Foley? Did you know that? I always thought it was just like a note they played in that song.
I was like, I did know that. Wait, what? Yeah, and then the third one is your least favorite.
Yeah. But on a serious note, for a long time I heard, oh, they're playing Axel F. Of course I know his name was Axel Foley in the movie, but the song was called Axel F. And I'm not alone in thinking this. Dude from Harmontown.
Dan Harmon.
No.
Spencer.
Spencer. He said the same thing. He was like, I just realized, I'm sorry, everyone, that the F stands for Foley. It's not like a note in the song. It's not in the key of F. it's Axel Foley. So anyway, it's good. It's good. Please finish watching it, Travis, because I think you'll like it.
Okay, you keep talking, and I'll just stare awkwardly at the other side of the screen for a while.
Sure. What I like about it is it does bring back old characters. Obviously, I talk about Taggart, right? It's got Bronson Pinchot. He comes back for Aquel. That's how he says Axel. Just for a little bit part. And the relationship between him and his daughter is nice, right? Because they're it's one of those strange things, as all like kind of legacy sequels do. But I think it does it in a pretty good way. It explores the relationship between like a father and a daughter in a interesting way, enough for Beverly Hills Cop to go in a comedy way.
It's a weird thing, the environment, the landscape, the entertainment landscape that we are experiencing now, where realistically, like, if this was 20 years ago at the height of cable television, Beverly Hills Cop would be a staple on, like, it'd be edited for content, I'm sure, but like it would be playing on like TBS or something, right? Like and then you get a movie like this, which most likely doesn't get made without streaming services being a thing. And maybe it does, but like I don't know, it's just weird to me because I would overlook, a Beverly Hills Cop being played on TV over and over again, but now like this movie comes out on Netflix, it kind of like re-energizes the franchise a little bit. And then because they have all the other content there on the same platform, then you'd be like, oh, let's just binge all of them. Let's just watch them all on demand, and they're high def and not edited and all this stuff. And it's weird how like different that experience is now. Like it's not no commercial breaks. You're not having to watch a bunch of like soap commercials in the middle of Beverly Hills Cop. I don't know. It's just it's weird. Like I obviously there's tons of streaming services now, and basically we pay for cable again. We just pay for like select cable. Sometimes we share it with our friends. I don't know.
Yeah, which is wrong. Yeah. You shouldn't share. You should all pay your money individually, which we do.
It's like my parents always told me growing up, don't share. Please make sure wealthy corporations get as much money as possible.
That's right. Which is as a side note, something I was ranting about to my coworkers today about the podcast landscape. With just pandemic, celebrities coming in and just a bajillion podcasts from celebrities that you're like, oh, I know, I want to hear what they have to say on a personal level, and how that's it hasn't completely pushed out the small time podcasters, but it's there.
It does. People have a limited amount of time to consume content. Like there's a finite amount of time in the day, in the week, and the reality is, for me, I can only listen to responsibly maybe like 5 or 6 podcasts regularly that I can keep up with the latest episodes, and between my commute, between mowing my yard, between a few other times where I'm by myself and not interacting with others. I could a little bit at work, but for the most part I'm working with other people, so it's it'd be rude for me to just have headphones on the whole time while I'm working with others. So when you have a bunch of independent podcasters and then you have a market with a bunch of celebrities that have established personalities and people are already connected with those voices, those people, it's just, it's natural for people to gravitate towards those creators, but it does give them an advantage immediately. Plus, they have business connections and industry connections to where they can get advertising and promote their podcasts a lot better.
They have a crew that they can hire to do all the work for them.
I do have somebody who I think is half joking, but is offering to work our social media for us, by the way. So that's another
half joking.
I don't know. I think he would genuinely do it if we asked him.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't want to ask, because then he or she is gonna then want money from us. Want.
I told him we'll just give him a percentage of what we make, and then we're clear.
Woo! Yeah, we're golden. They'll owe us money by
yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the offer. All right. So Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Axel F. End of the day. Your third favorite Beverly Hills Cop movie.
That's right.
Let's add out of 5. I'm trying to think
Foley artists.
What would you rate it?
Out of 5, I would. Travis, it's a hard-hitting question straight from the mouth of the master. I would give. I don't know what that means. I would give it. I want to give it 4 because I enjoyed it, and when I started it, I did pause it in the middle so I can go to Lowe's again. Because I really, the weekend trip to Lowe's, that's fun. I turned into such an old person.
Such a dad. Why did I text you Dadcore this weekend?
I don't recall. I'll check my.
It might have been you installing a sprinkler system in your backyard.
Yeah, it's all drip irrigation in my green chili garden. Because I'm lazy. I'm like, let's automate some drip irrigation so I don't have to, so my plants don't die on me, right? I don't want my babies to die on me.
I gotta install a drip irrigation system for my chilies, and I just responded, Dadcore.
That's right. Yeah, and it works. It works wonderfully.
So proud of you. Proud of you.
So to answer your question, I would give it 4. Yeah, maybe a 3.5 if I had to lower it. If I had to, I think maybe some people won't enjoy it. Maybe they're looking for really that kind of grimy Los Angeles of part 1. But it's definitely not like the clean cut version of part 3, which John Landis directed, I believe. And we all know how cool John Landis is. Stay tuned for our John Landis bashing post show.
Really gonna stick it to old Landis on that post show.
Yeah.
All right. Do you feel that your nostalgia for the original trilogy affected your rating?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Good. All right. Moving on, everybody.
I do. But Travis, here's here's how it had affected it. Because my nostalgia is not that strong for the series. I do like the series, but I was never like, oh my god, woo! Oh yes, finally, Taggart's back. Yes.
What a whirlwind of emotions you just expressed.
I'm not so nostalgic that this one comes out and I'm like, oh my god, this isn't. Where's his signature laugh? Where's Eddie Murphy's signature laugh? Ugh. Woke, right? Like, I don't have any feeling like that.
Did the writers even see the first 3 Beverly Hills Cops before they wrote this?
This breaks canon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Star Wars.
That's fair.
So yeah, like, because I don't maybe have that strong an emotion towards it, it let me enjoy the movie more, I think.
Good. All right. Well, any other final thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop Axel F streaming now on Netflix?
Yeah, I do. One last thought. It's streaming now on Netflix.
Not a sponsor.
3rd of July it came out. And don't share passwords on Netflix anymore. We're warning you, right?
Yeah. You've been warned. You've been
This
warned.
Apathetic war enthusiasm. Do not share your password.
Yeah.
Anyway, after the break, Travis, we're gonna talk about another movie I watched and it's gonna be just as good a review as this last one.
That's right. We'll be back with yet another exciting movie review where Brandon's watched a movie that Travis hasn't heard of when we come right back.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, there's no breaks on YouTube. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to those advertisements. We appreciate it. I really help it support the show. Brandon, you did a great job really carrying this episode for me. And talking about a movie that you're nostalgic about or not super nostalgic about. But we want to talk about another movie franchise which a lot of people are nostalgic about, and this is sort of like a franchise or franchises that have been around for a long time. Yet another take on this, Godzilla X Kong. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the new Empire.
New Empire.
Yeah, Godzilla X Kong.
I feel extremely confident that I watched the trailer for this movie.
I'm sure you did. Because it was very pink.
It was very pink. It was very pink. Don't remember hearing that this movie came out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it came out this last year, and it is now streaming on Max.
On Max.
Which
is it really on Max?
Yeah. It's Max. You can watch it right now.
When I was talking about dragons at the top of the episode, and I talked about dragons on Max, that's because obviously House of Dragons is back now streaming on Max. Had no idea that this was actually available on the same platform.
Yeah. And when you said dragons, I was like, oh, look at you! You thinking Godzilla's a dragon? That's very cute of you. And then you said House of Dragons. I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't know that it's streaming now on Max.
Yeah, I had no idea. I want to be clear. I've watched 3 episodes of House of Dragons on Max, the same platform, yet still had no idea that this movie was out.
Well, Travis, it came out on Max this week. So, if you hadn't been on it since like what, Thursday, then you wouldn't have seen Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
That's fair. Thank you for covering for me, Brandon.
Travis.
So let's.
Question.
Yeah,
no,
is Godzilla not a dragon?
Start.
Godzilla's not a dragon?
No, Godzilla's not a dragon. Godzilla's a friend of the world.
No, Brandon, I don't.
I thought I froze for a second.
I was just really confused. What do you mean? He's not a. What is he?
He's a gigantic Gojira. He's a
Oh, okay. My bad.
he's a giant lizard. You know, dragons aren't lizards. You know, there's dragons fly. It's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a horse fly.
Yeah. It's a culturally insensitive song now. They get a warning before you stream Dumbo on Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I've been done seeing about anything. Yeah.
When
okay.
I see an elephant fly. Anyway, this is where we break down all the different types of dragons. So let's talk about wyverns real quick. Commonly
misconstrued.
Yeah. In fact, Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, are they actually dragons?
No, they're not. Kaiju is what they're called, Travis. The giant monsters of the monster universe. So let me ask you this: of the King Kong, Skull Island, Godzilla movies, Godzilla versus Kong, have you seen any of those movies?
I think, was it Matthew Broderick in one of them?
I punch you right squaw in the junk. So fair warning to listeners right now. Travis's video is getting really blurry, so it means my internet might go out in short order. So if it does, well, we are however many minutes into the show.
You look great on this end, and that's the one that's recording the videos. That's what matters.
Okay, great. All right, so you haven't seen any of them. That's good. So you're not don't love
just the one with Inspector Gadget in it.
You don't love monster movies, eh? That's not your.
I don't dislike. I am indifferent. I would watch one, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Good enough for me.
I watched the King Kong
Skull Island.
I think Skull Island. Was that the first of the reboot of that?
Yeah, with John C. Reilly.
It was Jack Black in it.
Oh no. So okay. All right, fair listener.
Was it?
Here we go.
Was Jack Black in one?
He was. Let's go back in time, everybody, and let's talk about the history in the last 30 years of King Kong and Godzilla movies.
There's the one where he reaches his hand in the window and grabs the lady, and he's on top of the building.
Just wait for it, Travis. Just wait for it.
I feel like I've seen that one.
Wait for it. In '99, there came out a Godzilla movie that sucks. It sucks. With Matthew Broderick. So congratulations. It also has Hank Azaria in it from Simpsons fame. Now, it's
also
not good.
Culturally insensitive.
Yes. That was the first American Godzilla, and it was trash. So let's all forget about it. But it's one of Sizemore's guilty pleasures. So okay. That one has nothing to do with any of these new Godzilla movies. Now, King Kong, they made a remake of that in the mid-2000s. Peter Jackson did. It had Naomi Watts and Jack Black in it, and then Adrian Brody, and that was the first King Kong reboot in the aughts. That King Kong has nothing to do with these movies either. Now, Gareth Edwards, who directed a movie called Monsters, was pulled to direct the first Godzilla movie, which was 2014, which I saw in Korea. 2013, 2014, I saw in Korea. And then after that, Skull Island.
This was another American Godzilla movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These are all American Godzilla King Kong movies. So that movie came out, and then that had Bryan Cranston in it. And then Kong Skull Island came out. That one had John C. Reilly in it. A few other folks that I dug, but I can't remember their names right now. So, anyways, John Goodman was also in that one. Okay, that takes place.
I may have watched that one too.
This the 60s, early 70s, where they go to Skull Island, and it's like a baby kind of Kong. Okay, the end credits of that movie teased Godzilla. That the fact that Godzilla is in the same universe as these things. It's like, oh, that means. Oh, that's cool. Can't wait to see that someday. Then Godzilla King of the Monsters came out, and that's when he fought Ghidorah. And then Godzilla versus Kong came out. That's where they fought Mechagodzilla, and then we have this one, which is Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, where Godzilla and Kong, they collaborate. They stop, collaborate, and they fight some monsters together. And so that's where we are. That's the history. Now, a couple years, maybe last year, Godzilla Minus Zero came out, and that is a purely Japanese Godzilla. That one is nothing to do with any of these
Oscar
movies.
award winning.
Yes.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with these Americanized Godzilla movies. So they're completely separate. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of it, but that's what it is.
I feel, Brandon, that there's something about me that I tend not to gravitate toward very popular and highly enjoyed series of movies over a period of time. So, for example, James Bond movies have been coming out for decades and decades and decades. And for the better part of my life, I didn't really watch any of them. I watched, I think, a couple of Pierce Brosnan ones when they like were first coming out when I was younger. And I was like, all right, whatever, like I didn't watch a bunch of James Bond. And then like over the course of like a month, at one point in my life, I was like, I'm just watching all the James Bond movies. Just binged through a ton of them, right? Rocky, kind of the same way. Other Fast and the Furious. I've watched 2 Fast and the Furious movies total. I have not watched the whole series. I'm like, there's too many of them. I'm like, oh, whatever. And then like the actors change out and things happen, right? So I think like with Godzilla, it's one of those things where it's like it's been around for so long, and like they're from the outside looking in, I'm always like, all right, well, like are they retelling the same story? Are they redoing it? Like what is it? Why is it different? Why does it matter? Like all these different things. What eventually has to happen is I just need to be like, I'm just going to watch them all. And and then I'll just catch up on all of them over the course of like a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
And then I won't go back to them for a very long time either. Like
Yeah.
rewatching watching all those James Bond movies. I don't think I've watched a James Bond movie that's come out since I did that, like 12 years ago. So yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, it makes perfect sense, right? Like I was super excited for a Godzilla movie to come out that didn't suck. So I saw it as soon as I could. Same thing with Skull Island. I saw the reviews. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's check this out. Then the reveal that they're connected in this universe. And so like, yeah, I've kind of stuck with it. Same thing with like, although I haven't seen the latest Planet of the Apes, the remake, Dawn, Rise, Day of the Dead, Planet of the Apes. Yeah, like all those, I stick with those.
That brings up another point because like.
Maybe you don't like ape movies.
I like the Planet of the Apes movies. I actually liked some of the original ones. I liked the newer ones. I liked the remake. I liked
you like the Tim Burton one, which had nothing to do with the new
the best one. And then what's like the new ones? Like what was the first
Kingdom
of the
Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, no, it was
that was Rise of the Planet of the Apes, then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And then
Rise was the one with Marky Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Marky Mark was just Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
That one has nothing to do with any of these late mid 2000 ones. Mid 2000s to late 2000s. Like Tim Burton directed that one.
Yeah, the best one.
And it has nothing to do with anything.
Okay. The one after that, where they were all like started to be connected, I thought it was great too, right? I thought it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And then I stopped watching them. Haven't watched one since. I don't know why. Like I don't know why I don't like keep up with. I think like these franchises, I just commit myself to Star Wars and Marvel. I have no time for anything.
Well, to your point, I think that's interesting. It's whenever there's a show that comes out, and I did this with Acolyte too, where I missed 4 episodes, and I was like, I know I want to watch this, I want to get caught up, but there's a little bit of entry of like, this is like a day's worth that I'm pulling myself away from doing other things that I need to do
Yeah.
or need to be or want to be doing.
Need that drip system for the chilies, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's right. I couldn't. I want to play video games too. I'm like, I can't do that. I guess I have a relationship and a parent thing that I'm still have to work on.
I have to invest in my family. Oy, oy, oy.
And so, you know, like picking and choosing the media that you want to consume is difficult. And then to have to sort out the different threads and what's connected and what's not. A big thing, thankfully, with Star Wars nowadays, right? Like, because you know it's connected now, everything is connected in some way, shape, or form. Now, you're not like, wait, what is canon? What's not? Which is maybe why it's so easy for some of the fan to be like, this isn't canon. F you, Kathleen Kennedy. But with like Marvel, so there's confusion there because the properties were licensed by so many different companies, Sony and Fox and Disney. And so when movies were made, they're like, they know Spider-Man is a Marvel property,
Yeah.
but they didn't know that Spider-Man was licensed by Sony. And so Sony had the rights to make a movie about it. And so all Spider-Man's rogue gallery are also licensed by Sony. So when Morbius comes out, when Madam Web comes out, when Venom comes out, everyone's like, these Marvel's really going downhill with their movies. And I'm like,
technically, it's not Marvel Studios. This is
right.
they've only licensed the characters.
When X-Men, the Age of Apocalypse came out and Dark Phoenix came out, and those movies were trash. Like, well, here's the thing. Disney doesn't own X-Men. Fox does. And Fox is just trying to make movies with them while they still have them. But then Disney bought Fox, which is
I wonder how many years of this podcast we've been explaining this and re-explaining this over and over.
I know. I know. But it's to that point of, like, we know that it's easy for us to explain, but explaining it to the lay person is a different thing entirely, right?
Yeah,
and
to
like,
Mike and Jeff, like they need to know these things.
And Mike doesn't know a lot of stuff. He's basically probably the biggest moron I've ever met in my I felt obligated to hire him
Thanks
back.
for listening, Mike.
Anyways, okay.
All right, so we've kind of spiraled out from this conversation, but you watched.
Oh, it was good.
You watched Godzilla X Kong. What did you think?
It was good.
How many on a scale of 1 to 5 Skull Islands? How many Skull Islands would you give it?
I would give it 3 to 3.5 skulls of Kong Island. Here's what I liked about it. Adam Wingard, who directed it, I believe he directed Godzilla vs. Kong as well. He's directed some horror movies like The Guest. He also did, I think, VHS, maybe the some ABCs of horror. Doesn't matter. It's pretty cool. This movie, it was like, you know what? Let's just let the monsters have fun. let's just have fun with the monsters. So, like, my biggest thing going into the movie is like, why is Godzilla pink? You know me, Travis. For some reason I like painting like robots and stuff pink, or like ships. I don't know. I think it's just like a cool color that is not normal for spaceships. So I'm like,
Sure.
yeah. But I'm like, Godzilla's pink. Why is Godzilla pink? It explains it, and I'm like, okay. Why he's doing that was kind of fun and silly. King Kong having a metal fist. Like, why does it happen? Looks stupid in the trailer, but then it's like, you know what? By the time he actually gets it, you're like, right on. I'm
here for the metal fist of King Kong.
I'm invested for why any of this is happening right now. And Godzilla is like a big dumb like a big dumb dog, right? This is how Chelsea describes it. A big dumb dog who just like doesn't even care where it's walking. It's just like knocking shit over. Like, what? Like, not even like bother like stepping
like
over
the tail is just taking out entire city blocks, and he's just like,
yeah, exactly.
Alright.
And we see a mini Kong. Oh, there's a cute little mini Kong. It's not a spoiler, but mini Kong is so cute. I love a mini Kong.
Is that just called a gorilla?
No, no. Mini Kong is still bigger than a regular gorilla. It's maybe like a third of the size of Kong.
How foolish of me.
Yeah, come on.
All right. Cool.
Come on.
Well, so you can go watch Godzilla X Kong on Max. I know I'm going to. But and then you can check out Beverly Hills Cop over on Netflix.
Also,
yeah.
also Mothra's in it, and I love me some Mothra.
Mothra, save us, Mothra. You can also watch Biodome somewhere, probably, and that's
Really?
a reference to that movie.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if you can watch Biodome. All right, and then you're playing video games. What video games are you playing?
So I'm playing a little bit of everything right now. I'm playing.
That's a lot of video games, Brandon.
GTA 5 a little bit with Sizemore, doing some heists, blowing each other up, and then I bought not Mech Warrior, dang it, Fires of the Rubicon, Armored Core. I bought Armored Core 6. I'd never played any of those, so those are fun, like a mission or two at a time, because they get really hard. So I play one or two missions. I'm like, okay, moving on. I played this one game. It's like a city builder. I forget what it's called, so I apologize. But it's like
It has a grid system.
It has a grid system. It's like Kingdom and Cities, I don't know, or something like that. But it is fun and it is addicting. I played the hell out of it. It has a grid system. You can make a grid. And then I stopped playing it because I spent a lot of time on it, and then I remembered, oh, this is just a city builder. Like, there's not actually like a winning scenario for this. You just play it until you're done playing it. Like
until society collapses.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done with that.
Speaking of Satisfactory, I was told today just came out with its like 1.0 release. Like, it's out of pre-release now.
Oh.
So I may consider going back and revisiting that game if I get really bored.
I like Satisfactory.
Yeah, Satisfactory is pretty good.
I've
actually
get a gaming
go ahead.
laptop. I might try to get a gaming laptop one of these days so I can start PC gaming again.
Yeah, I might consider that too. I've been revisiting a lot of older games. My son has recently become very obsessed with Overwatch again, which I was a huge fan of Overwatch. Longtime listeners of the podcast definitely know that. I still have a giant like desk mouse pad that's Overwatch for my keyboard, and got a bunch of like Overwatch figures still hanging around my office. But
oh yeah, look at that.
yeah, so going back to revisiting that game, it's weird because like I'm not up to speed with, like, they've released probably 15 characters since like I last played. So I'm getting in there, I'm playing, and I'm like, what does this character do? What does that one do? What is that giant flower thing that just appeared out of the middle of the payload or something like that? But when I play the characters that I played, 5 years ago, it's like riding a bike. I just the clickety clack on my keyboard. I start wall surfing again with Lucio and things like that. I'm not a pro player by any means, but it is fun to kind of revisit that and do that like with my son and play that game.
Yeah.
It's cutting into the Lorcana time a little bit. But we're working through that.
Yeah,
He also pulled my old Nintendo 64, original Nintendo 64, purchased in 1996 when the console was released. Pulled that out of the garage, fired it up, it still runs, still working. I mean, what a fine piece of machinery.
Sure,
he's playing through Super Mario 64 because apparently I don't have a copy of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I thought I did. I know I played that whole game. But between that and the question of the day in my office today, what do you feel, Brandon, is the best video game console? What is or was the best video game console? My vote was N64. I think it was a recency bias thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I thought about Xbox or Xbox 360. I've never been a PlayStation guy personally, but I know like PlayStation 2 is probably the right answer. But I'm curious what you think.
No, I think I would have to go with Super Nintendo or Genesis. One of those two.
Interesting.
I think it's I don't know if this is true, right? But I think it's a little bit telling that the 16-bit type of style of game is still really, really big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like having those types of games, like Terraria, when that Terraria came out, like even there's this I don't think I've talked about it on the show, but there's this app where you have your 16-bit characters that you just kind of hang out in the like an office setting. There's a park, you can go into an office, and then like you walk up to somebody, and then like your webcams pop up, and then you can have an actual conversation with each other.
Oh, that's
like,
wild.
There's
Am I sensing
reason...
a new Patreon perk? I don't know. I don't know.
So those that's why I kind of like I like that. I like that. I still want to go back and play those games. Not Nintendo. There was a lot of games I played on Nintendo, but Super Nintendo and Genesis. Those games were like the right balance of fun, challenging, but not where it's like the enemies repeat over and over again.
Yeah.
That Nintendo had. There were saves, there was progress. So that's some of the best RPGs came out during the Super Nintendo. So like Final Fantasy 3, Super Mario RPG,
and so many of the games, even that we play to this day,
Chrono Trigger.
They're still based on
Secret of God.
those original games, and they're just like the 10th, the 20th iteration, or a retelling of that story, or just a modernized, gameplay version, but it's the same type of like content or things like that.
Yeah. And although I like early Xbox, PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, if you go back to me, going back and playing those games, and even Nintendo 64 to some extent, going back and playing those games and seeing how kind of like janky they are. Like I watched a Super Mario 64 kind of like speed run the other day, and compare that to Super Mario Sunshine, where everything is like bright and vibrant, and like the backgrounds are Super Mario 64. Yeah, you have your platforms that you're running on, but like the backgrounds are just black. It's just like
no, yeah,
it's like a Roblox game. That's essentially what it is.
We popped Rogue Squadron, I think it was, into the N64 to test it out to see if it was working, and like the X-wing came in, and it was all like just really blocky, and then it flies over like the LucasArts like logo, and it's just like you can like see every polygon, and you're just like, and my son was like, yeah, wow, that's I was like, this was it. This was state of the art. I don't want to hear it. When I was your age, this was the best that we got.
Like Shadows of the Empire, it's fantastic game. Well, maybe it wasn't a fantastic game, but it was a Star Wars game that was really cool. But I think part of the why I don't consider that era of gaming the best is because they were just figuring this 3D stuff out.
Yeah.
And so like some of the issues that were there, they're still working out through this day, which is like camera angles, janky controls, like overly sensitive or not sensitive enough, like jumping, platforming. I think like the Castlevania 64, I was like, I want it because I love Castlevania. Then I played that game like, this game's making me sick. Maybe that's another reason. It's a first generation of games that was like, oh,
that affected your motion sickness. That is a very good point, Brandon. Yes. Yeah.
So,
all right.
One thing I talk about motion sickness here. So the Meta Quest 1, 2, the 3 is out now. It's been out maybe a couple months. I don't know how long it's been out. But we went over to my son's friend's house and we hung out with his friend's parents, which hanging out with new people, great
Brandon's favorite.
But her parents are cool as heck, and but he has a Quest 3, the 3.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Oh, you gotta check this out." I'm like, "All right, let's check it out." So with the Quest 2, here's what the main difference is. With the Quest 2, like, you would have the camera, you can see out of it, but everything was black and white. So like, you can see the room and you have to scan the room and be like, where's my play area? This one has color, which, like, ooh, whoopie-doo, color. But what's really, really cool is you don't have to scan the area, and also it has enough processing power to do, I say the AR, but it's there's another term for like the type of gaming where it's like it's your reality plus the graphics of the world.
Yeah.
And so, like, I played this
like
game.
mixed reality or
Yeah. So I played this game where like these space aliens are invading, and so like I'm in their living room, and through the goggles, like the walls are breaking down, and it's like there's like, it looks like a cracks and stuff like that. Piece of the wall fall off, and there's aliens in the background on an alien planet, and then an alien ship comes down, right? And so the game is like these little bally aliens, different colors, like jumping around. They're trying to attack the spaceship, and you have the two handsets, and all around the room, you're trying to shoot these things. You're trying to kill them. Well, like, if there's a couch here, there's a chair over here, there's a bar over there. You have to go around and like shoot over the couch, and like they're hiding behind things, right? And I'm like, holy crap, this is this is really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. If somebody's watching you play, it looks, like, even if they're talking to you, you're like, are you talking to me?
That's one of
the
the as the person watching, it's one of the best things to just observe people in VR. And one of the biggest downsides as a person that is using VR is just like you have to just put all of your inhibitions aside and say, like, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this game or enjoy this experience regardless of the fact that it's making me look like a total idiot right now. Like,
yeah. But it is really, really cool. If anybody else has a 3, let us know what you think. I only got to 5 minutes with it, but I was like, oh, okay, these things are getting pretty good.
I will say, and I mean, this was 8 years ago now, if not longer, when I first tried the HTC Vive. Shout out to my old friend Tyler Birch. He had bought it. He set it up, and this is when, like, VR, you need to, like, base stations set up in the room to be able to use it and all this stuff. But I used that for the first time, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, this to me is the future of gaming. And it's taken 8 years to get to a point where headsets are independent enough to where you don't need a bunch of extra stuff. You can just have the headset and a couple controllers. Obviously, like, the Vision Pro from Apple is like a crazy version of that where you don't even need controllers, but it's also like not really VR, it's AR, and not exactly what I mean when I'm talking about virtual reality. But it is so cool to see that there's a continued investment in this type of technology, and that they're continuing to iterate and make it better, so that now, like, a decade later, my kids use it, like, without even thinking, like, the way that they would use, like, an iPad or like a phone, where they can just, my friend in another state wants to play Gorilla Tag, so let me slap on the headset and we'll go play around in a virtual environment for the next hour or something.
And we talked about that with the Vive early on in this show, about, not this episode, but this show,
Sure.
about being able to play across distances. And Sizemore and I, there's I forget what game it is, but it's kind of like a D&D tabletop-ish game where like you have your characters, you roll dice, you move them around the board, and then like you can move the board, change your angle around it, and like zoom in and stuff like that, and you're basically playing D&D, right? And it's really cool. And he's in Idaho, I'm out here in LA, and like you and I,
and I'm still in Oklahoma without an invitation to any D&D games. Come on, guys, you're killing me.
Yeah, sorry about that. But it's really fun. I think it's cool. And the Vive, the Quest 1, when VR first came out, and it was just like you attach it to your phone.
The Virtual Boy from Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
Those are the first generations, much like the PS1 and Nintendo 64 were.
Yeah.
But okay, so that is it. Unless you have anything else to say about that.
No, I was just going to talk about next week. Plan for next week.
That's exactly what I was going to transition into, Travis. Shoot.
It's like we've been doing this a minute.
All right, let's talk about next week. So here's the thing. San Diego Comic-Con is in 2 weeks. Later this week, we expect the schedule for San Diego Comic-Con to come out.
Yep.
We've talked about it here on the show already. We are going to be there. We have press passes, so we are going to get all that hot content.
Sweet, steamy content.
And so next week, what we wanted to talk about was just doing like an SDCC primer.
Yeah.
And then give you the opportunity to hit us back up with anything you want us to check out, if you want us to check out. And then, I think that's kind of our plan. It's the most plan we've ever had for this show.
Yeah, I mean, that's not entirely true. We made an entire fantasy football mechanics for zombie shows at one point.
That's right.
So this will be sort of a double episode, right? This will probably go out both on Apathetic Enthusiasm and Interdimensional RSS.
Yep.
Obviously Interdimensional RSS, we have a lot of like Rick and Morty content and Adult Swim content to focus on for that podcast. But I mean, really, Apathetic Enthusiasm covers everything, right? So if it's art, if it's movies, if it's comics, games, you name it, if it's being featured at San Diego Comic-Con and you're into it, let us know, and we would be more than happy to go check it out, get some information on it, potentially interview some people, things like that. So let us know. We will do a full primer next week once we have the schedule. Some exclusives and other stuff is already out, but we should have the most information next week for that episode. And then make sure that you're following and subscribed on all of our platforms, all of the different social media links and things like that, because we'll be doing extra stories, extra reels, different stuff like that on our Instagram to make sure that you can see as much as possible from this year's Comic-Con. At least from our perspective.
Heck yeah! You said it way better than I ever could, Travis. And that's demonstrable. That is demonstrable. I'm just buying time while I look something up on my phone. I don't mean those things.
Okay. I mean, I can do a Lorcana segment.
No, I don't. Please don't.
Sorry, that's what the post show's for. Does that entice you to be a patron?
Okay. Last thing I want to say before we go is, so a couple months back, I did a guest spot on a podcast called TV and Movie Trivia Pod. And the next episode of the show is coming out tomorrow, which is on a Tuesday, the 9th. And I'm answering a bunch of questions about the hit movie Minority Report by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Cruise. Look, it's
classic.
It's a 4th of July staple. So yeah, go ahead, look it up. If you go to rickandmortypod.com, tweeting all of the links out there. So, or not comp.com. Go to Instagram. I don't do anything
at Rick and Morty Pod. Yeah,
at Rick and Morty Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and you'll see a bunch of stuff out there. So go ahead and check it out. Go and support that show. If not for me, kicking ass at Minority Report trivia, for our friends over at TV Movie Trivia Pod.
Yeah, such a fun podcast. So fun every time we get to go play along with some some content, some trivia that is very much in our wheelhouses.
And we did Monster House before. We just
obviously we were on the Rick and Morty one. Yeah,
of
lots of fun. I'll probably listen to your episode while I'm driving. Just
all right.
I want to see if I can get as many right as you. Is
you
really
won't.
I won't. It's not possible. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much to everybody for listening. We're gonna go record that Patreon post show right now. But yeah, let us know what you want to see from San Diego Comic-Con. Let us know what your favorite video game console is. We want to know.
Oh yeah.
Either leave that down in the comments below this video or let us know at any of our socials. And until next week.
Hell, I'll put a poll out there.
Put a poll out there. Let's put a poll out there.
On stories.
All right, everybody. That's it. I'm Travis.
I'm Brandon. See you later.
Bye.
I'll put a poll out